So why accept reality? Rejecting or denying reality doesn't change reality. Rejecting reality usually involves avoiding seeing or experiencing reality, throwing a tantrum, and insisting to the universe that reality change right this minute. It may simply be denying the facts that are right in front of your eyes. Although avoiding tantrums and denying might make you feel better in the moment, they do not change the facts that have occurred. Some parents have a difficult time accepting that their children have grown up and left for college or a job in a new city. This refusal can lead to unrealistic demands, unwanted advice, and over-solicitous interference in their child's lives, ultimately damaging their relationship with their children. Changing reality first requires accepting reality. Rejection of reality is like a cloud that surrounds pain, interfering with being able to see it clearly. Problems that are difficult to see clearly are difficult to solve. Refusing to accept that it could rain on your outdoor wedding and therefore not making any contingency plans may lead to a ruined day. You want to buy a house. You finally find the house of your dreams. The only problem is that the house is purple and you hate purple. You make an agreement with the seller before you buy that you will pay this much for the house, but the seller has to repaint the house before you move in. The seller agrees and you sign the papers, sealing the deal. The big day comes. You get your keys, you drive over to your new house, and it's still purple. And the owners move to Europe. And they're never coming back. You have two options. You can throw a tantrum. I can't stand it. This is a disaster. Where are these people? I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm so mad. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to sue and make them come paint this house. You can go on and on. You can storm out and get in your car and say that you're not buying that house, but you signed the papers and you bought the house and the house is yours, purple and all. Now, imagine another way. Go into your new home and say, I'm so disappointed. I didn't want the house to be purple. I know I can sue the seller, but it would take a really long time. Where's the nearest paint store? How do you think you'll get the color of the house to change faster? If you accept that the house is purple, or if you throw a tantrum. Pain cannot be avoided. It is nature's way of signaling that something is out of order. If you could avoid pain, you would do it. If you did not experience pain, however, you would likely die young, as you could easily inadvertently get yourself in dangerous situations that could kill you, like accidentally burning yourself to death or going into shock and freezing water. Individuals who are born with no sense of pain have very difficult lives, as they must constantly be vigilant so as not to harm themselves. The pain of a hand on a hot stove causes a person to move that hand quickly. People without the sensation of pain are in deep trouble. Rejecting reality turns pain into suffering. Suffering is pain plus non-acceptance of the pain. Pain can be difficult or almost impossible to bear, but suffering is even more difficult. Refusal to accept reality and the suffering that goes along with it can interfere with reducing pain. Suffering happens when you are unable to or refuse to accept pain, when you cling to getting what you want, refusing to accept what you have. When you resist reality as it is in the moment. Radical acceptance transforms unbearable suffering into bearable pain. Pain is pain. Suffering and agony are pain plus non-acceptance. If you take pain and add non-acceptance, you end up with suffering. Accepting reality can bring freedom. Accepting reality can free you from bitterness, anger, sadness, shame, and other painful emotions. The drive to stop pain, no matter the cost, is the opposite of freedom. Much of life involves managing painful situations that cannot be solved immediately. Although it is easy to think that you can just get rid of pain by positive thinking or by ignoring or suppressing it, these strategies often do not work. Your use of these strategies is usually based on the delusion that you cannot stand the pain. You feel compelled to do something to stop the pain. You are a slave to your incessant urges to escape from the present moment. You may have the experience of someone important to you dying. When someone dies, most people can't accept it at first. They keep thinking, that can't have happened. They keep expecting the person to be there. Eventually, they accept it and realize that the person really did die. When they accept it, they are still in pain, but they can move ahead with their life. When acceptance is used as a technique to create change as a sort of bargain with God, I'll accept it and in return you promise to make it better, it is not really acceptance, much less radical acceptance. Acceptance may lead to sadness, but deep calm usually follows. Acceptance often comes with a lot of sadness. Even with the sadness, it feels as if a burden has been lifted. Once radical acceptance has taken place, you feel ready to move on with your life. Fear of sadness is often at the core of difficulties with acceptance. There is no doubt that finally accepting the facts of a painful or traumatic past, or that your present is excruciatingly painful and perhaps not changeable, can be extremely sad. The fear of falling into the abyss of sadness can be too overwhelming, even to imagine. When losses are severe and irreplaceable, complete acceptance usually unfolds for a long period of time. Finally accepting that you do not have a childhood home to go home to for the holidays can take a long time to come to terms with. When the past is tragic or the present is not what you want, a sense of liberation and freedom followed by a sense of deep calmness comes when you radically accept the facts of the situation. Once you stop fighting it, suppressing it, and catastrophizing it. The path out of hell is through misery. If you were in hell, the only way out is to go through a period of sustained misery. Misery is much better than hell, but it is painful nonetheless. By refusing to accept the misery that it takes to climb out of hell, you end up falling back into hell only to have it start over again. Exposure is a critical component of treatment for PTSD and other anxiety disorders. It is undeniably painful. Behavioral activation and opposite action are necessary to overcome depression. Each requires doing something that depressed people don't want to do at the time. It takes a lot of distress tolerance to stop self-injury, using drugs and alcohol and anger outbursts as ways to escape emotional pain. Post-traumatic stress disorder is primarily a result of trying to avoid all contact with cues that cause discomfort. Pathological grieving, that is, grieving that never ends, is a result of the same avoidance. Avoiding all cues that are associated with pain ensures that the pain will continue. The more people attempt to avoid and shut emotional or physical pain off, the more pain comes back to haunt them. Trying to suppress emotional pain or avoiding contact with pain-related cues leads to ruminating about painful events. Paradoxically, trying to get rid of painful thoughts creates painful thoughts. Experiencing, tolerating, and accepting emotional pain are the ways to reduce pain.